Hello and welcome to this episode of Christina Talks. I am really excited. I have Neville Wright with me today. This is a guy who is, I don't think there's any stopping this man. He started a business with 37 pence. That was his investment, just 37 pence. And he's now like 37 pence to 200 million. There is so much this guy can teach us about entrepreneurship, being in business, leadership, and I feel really, really privileged to have you here with me, Neville. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you very much, Christina. It's a pleasure to be on this podcast. Thank you.
Amazing. So, people may not know the name Neville Wright, but most people will know. I know. But most people with children will know the brand Kiddie Care. Like, I remember getting the deliveries and sometimes literally just buying some stuff from Kiddie Care because I needed some of those sun visors, to protect my kids in the back of the car from the light. And everyone at school, everyone at nursery, we all have these same things sticking in our back windows with Kiddie Care branding on them. So when you said yes to joining me, I said to my kids, Kiddie Care, do you remember this name? And my eldest is 24 now, and she's like, yeah, they were all those things it was on that thing in the window. So Neville, give us a bit of backstory about you. Tell us who you are and a little bit about what your journey's been.
Well, I wasn't very good at school. That was one of the main drivers, I think. And you can hear Marilyn in it. Come on, Marilyn, just come and say hello. This is the person that not drove me, but has made me so, so we say, excited. Look, here she is. This is Marilyn.
Well, yeah.
54 years we've been married. Where are you, Marilyn? 54 years.
And I'm still sorting out his paperwork.
I've just had to sign about 20 sheets of paper that she said, just sign them, get on with it. And she's still doing it, still in control she is, yes. So, I don't know where we was. Oh, a bit about me. At school I wasn't very good, and I didn't realise I was dyslexic, so that meant every time I looked at a book or the writing on the wall, it didn't make any sense to me. So if you can't read, because all the letters are moving about, falling off the pages, you can't write, and you can't spell, and you can't do anything really. One of my best subjects was picking up stones from the football pitch while everybody else played, because I had to pick up these stones and throw them in a cart, and I couldn't play football because I didn't know my left from my right, and I could never kick straight, I could never throw a ball straight. So all these things build up to inadequacies that you can either use them as a crutch when you get older, saying I could have done that, but this, that and the other, or use them as an advantage, because if I can't write something but I want to get on, I need somebody to help me. And this is why we ended up with 125 people full-time working in one shop, and the average nursery shop all over the world has 6 people in the shop, and we had 125 staff in one shop. So it's I just used to keep hiring people because it was so good. I had my enthusiasm, I had my thoughts of what I wanted it to be like, and Marilyn was with me, and she had her thoughts, and then our 2 daughters grew up in the business. And then one of my son-in-laws, my first son-in-law, came to help, and it was there's 5 of us, and we motivated all the managers. There was probably about 12 managers, and then they motivated the rest of the staff. So it was like a big family. And somebody put on Facebook the other day, when I was doing a little short video, I was on one of our sites, and they said, yeah, your enthusiasm and motivation made our team what it was, made it so great, and we took it onto other businesses and other jobs, and it was through that teaching and motivating that got us where we was. So I don't know whether I've answered the question or not. Oh, that was yes. So just a little bit more. So I left school at 15, or I left this institution at 15, and I ran away a few weeks early because I knew they couldn't do anything about it, because I'd got a job, you see, and by the time I was 24, I'd had 18 jobs, because not only being dyslexic, if you got found out that you couldn't do so, you couldn't read or write, they used to take the mickey out of you, something dreadful in those days. Well, I don't know whether they still do, but I used to run because I was so ashamed. I used to run to the next job, and in the 60s and 70s, you could leave a job in the morning and get one in the afternoon. It was so easy because I could talk, but I couldn't fill the forms in. I got other people to do that for me. Usually the secretary who was in that business. I go, I forgot my glasses, I can't see, and they go, oh, I'll do it for you, there's no problem, what's your name? So you learn how to get round things, you do. But after having 18 jobs and then a recession in 73, 74, then I realised, you know, that I couldn't get a job, and I wasn't going to stop on welfare all my life, although it looked like I would do. But one day everything changed, and I became responsible for my own actions instead of blaming everybody else. You know, life's not fair. And yeah, so it got to rock bottom, and I do think very often people are not low enough in a way of desperate enough to make a difference to their lives, so they're always hedging their bets and always plan B, and always I will do this when the right deal comes along, when the right thing comes along, and of course it never does, because whatever you do in life, you've got to be in it to win it, and if you're not in it and you're not educating yourself, and I think massively, I think education is one of the prime things that you have to have. Education. I educate myself every single day, but of course I educate myself in my world, not in an institution's world where they don't really educate you properly for coming out and making a life. They educate you to sit still, which I couldn't sit still. I've got ADHD, how can I sit still? You know, I could look out the window and see things in the clouds, and that was fantastic, give me ideas, and it was like, why have I got to sit still? You know, and if I can't see the board, if I can't understand what they're talking about, why not teach me something that I can understand? You know, and it's like, find something a child likes and wants and can do, and focus on that. Never mind about what the child can't do. We'll have to give them more, we'll have to make them stay extra, we'll have to make them do 1,000 lines if they can't write. You know, it's like, why make a child do something it can't do? Because it'll hate it, and it'll become shall we say embarrassed, it'll become dismal, I don't know the words, but it won't do any good, and it will make them go inside themselves and be even worse, and be scared, and be, you know, and won't come out. Yet if you teach a child more of what it can do, then that child blossoms. So anyway, we're going.
One of the things I've heard you say before is forget I can't, focus on I can. And I suppose that's what happens at sort of like 24, 25, you're like, you know, queuing up for the dole and all that sort of stuff. And
yeah.
I guess you just got to a point where you went, no more.
Well, they did, because I was desperate for another £2 a week, We was living in a caravan, 10-foot caravan. I got my wife and 3-year-old child, no job, and I was begging for another £2 a week. And they said, yeah, there's no problem, have another child. And I go, I can't afford to feed the one I've got. That's why I'm asking for the £2. And it's like, you are joking, this is so sad. And I was so sad, I was so angry that, you know, I flipped and I told them what they could do with the doll, and I'd got nothing. And that day changed my life, because I realised that I'd got angry and signed myself off the doll, and so I'd already asked them if I could have a business, window cleaning, and they said no, you can't, you're either on the dole or off. Anyway, that day I went and spent 37 pence on a piece of scrim, cloth for cleaning windows, and the next day I went out knocking on next door neighbours' doors, you know, and so it went on from there to then building, property maintenance, and then retail, and then investing in properties and of our own, and building up, and you know, that's it. And I think it was about 60 years, 61, no, it was I don't know, I was 60, so I was 24 when I started, and then 60 when I got 100 million, and then 73, I think, when I made the next 100 million. But of course we've been giving it away, so this is including all the taxes and stuff that we've spent, and there you are. That's life.
So this is the thing. Sometimes I think a lot of businesses are born out of the point of frustration. They're created at the point where you're kind of thinking, I don't know what else to do. Like it's the only option left on the table, rather than people embracing it. And I think and sometimes things happen accidentally. I remember, obviously I've heard you tell your story from stage, and I've listened to your book. And it's like this massive retail business that you had, you never intended to have. The window cleaning had turned into a property business.
Yeah.
And then you got an office for the property business.
Yeah.
And then, like, Marilyn had an idea.
Yeah, that's it. Because she said, you know, I'll be stuck here like for 8 hours a day, where she was on the building site. So she'd spent 3 years on the building site with me, and building up from a window cleaning business to a decorating business to a maintenance business to a building business, you know, all the time, push all the time. And then she found herself, well, she was going to go into the office side, and instead of doing it in the evenings. So then she said, well, I've got this terrace house, which is 4 rooms, and I only need 1. We could sell something. And we'd only got £300 saved up by then, after 3 years. So what could you buy? You know, it was like, what have we got? What did we know? We knew nothing about retail, but we were buyers. We'd bought a second-hand pram and a second-hand cot, and there was lots and lots of people doing it. And there was about 5 retailers doing new stuff in Peterborough, big retailers, well, the Co-op and 2 other independents, which were massive. And I thought, well, if they're making a living, you know, well, this is only a bit of pocket money at the side, you know, selling a few second-hand prams. And it's like, yeah, we could do it. And then after 3 months, reps started to find us, and we found manufacturers, and we stopped doing the second-hand and started on the new. And that's, you know, building all the time. And we sold that business in 1980 as a going concern, and started one 5 times the size. But we'd sold that business after 1 year because we'd made no money whatsoever. Marilyn had spent about 50 hours a week in there. I spent every Saturday in there. Then we used to go out in the evenings to cash and carries and to places buying toys and different things, going to Leicester and then London. Every Sunday we would go to London buying clothes, for children's clothes, and we realised we hadn't made any money. We'd just been silly fools racing around and we sold it. And then that's the first time I had a mentor. It was a rep, and he dragged me outside of the shop because it was a Friday. We was having some fish and chips. There's a chip shop up 2 doors away, and this guy, we said, "Oh, we won't see you again, Carl. We've just sold the shop." And he said, "Why?" I go, "Because we're not making any money." I said, "But you know, you've been here a year. You know, what do you expect? You're going to keep on going." I said, "No, we're in the wrong place." That's when he put his fish and chips down. He got hold of me by the scruff of my neck, and he pulled me up and he dragged me outside the shop. He was about 30 stone. He was a big bloke, he was. You know, I was 9 stone. He was mature and he was articulate with his voice, and he, you know, he was helping me. I thought he was an arse. And he dragged me, and he swung me around. He says, "Neville, do you not realise what road you're on?" I go, "Yeah, it's a main road coming in and going out of Peterborough." And it's like, "And you're saying you're in the wrong position." And of course, then he said, "You don't." All these terrace houses were the same. Some were houses, some were shops, some were offices. And he says, "You're not showing the public who you are and what you do." And within half an hour, I'd been across to the DIY shop. I got a load of hooks. So I screwed them all into the frame of the shop window, and I started hanging like toys on them and things like that. And I put prams on the pavement with big signs on them. And it's like, yeah, so you do one thing to attract the customers, but you also attract the local authorities who says, "Get rid of that stuff off your pavement." And then the argument starts, one of many over the years, to say, "Well, if my customer can come along and park the pram outside," because you couldn't get it in the shop because the shop was too small, "if the customer can do that, then why can't I?" So these were the things, these were the trials that we used to have, and then the shop started to boom, and within like another 2 years, it was so busy that we had to sell it as a going concern. Well, we didn't have to sell it as a going concern. We could do like a lot of people have done over the years and still do, close the business and go and open it somewhere else, but we didn't, because that area in those days, there was no internet, so the area was, if you had a shop, local people would come to you. And if you went 3 or 4 miles away, you'd get local people come to you. And that's how shopping was in those days. So we sold this shop as a going concern, and we spent that money on fitting the shop out 5 times the size, which we rented. We rented that for, it was a 25-year lease, but about, I don't know, 5 or 6 years later, we found another one, a freehold, for £100,000 with a car park, and it was a detached place, a really, really nice place. And again, it was 5 times the size of that one. We bought that for £100,000 cash that we'd got, and we sold the lease, the remaining 20 or 19 years lease, for £100,000. So, you know, these are the things you do. A lot of people won't do them. A lot of people go, "Well, I'm here for 25 years and then I'm going to retire," and we was. But because we saw that shop one day, and it was a Co-op supermarket, we made a decision within like that much. We sat outside, we looked at each other, we said this, because we was going to buy a warehouse, and we said, "This is not a warehouse, this is our next shop." And things change, life change. You go down all these roads and you come to a crossroads or you come to a Y junction, and you've got to go one way or the other. And you can
do you think that's where your ADHD sort of serves you?
Oh my goodness.
Rather than overthinking.
Oh yeah, and I'm like it all day, all day. One thing, then another, then another, then another. I can concentrate on something for, 20 minutes, and then off you go on to something. But I'll probably think I'm going to concentrate. I never really think about it, to be quite honest. I just do it, and then all of a sudden I'm on to something else, and something else, and something else, and I realise, what was I doing? Oh yes, I was doing this. I can go back to it. But this is why, I would never be able to sit at a desk for, like Marilyn can.
Obviously that co-op building that you bought, and you bought it, you sold the lease, that business then continues to grow and thrive, and the team builds.
Yes.
And to have a successful business, there must be some secrets
Yeah.
in terms of how you recruited people,
Yeah.
how you managed people.
Loads of secrets. So if you're in retail, or if somebody's coming to see you, whatever, but mainly like retail, a lot of managers will come in the back door and they'll turn the close to open, and they never go out the door. And everybody who's in retail, they should walk the street. In other words, what's it going to be like for a customer when they're coming down the street in their car? What do they see? Do they see loads of graffiti on the telephone boxes? Yeah, probably do. And what scene does that set? Yeah, you get some green paint and you paint over that graffiti, and if it's every day, then you do it every day. You sweep your gutters, you clean your windows, you make sure there's no dogs spin around at night or drunk people. We used to be opposite a pub, and so these people, they come out of the pub and they maybe want to go to the toilet in your doorway or be sick, whatever. You've got to look at all these things, and you've got to be there before before it opens, to make sure that if there's any problems, you sort them. And then you go into the car park. We used to have, in the end, we used to have a car park for about 400 cars. And people used to go through those gates and never think anything. They didn't see any graffiti, they didn't see any rubbish, they never thought. But that was the whole idea of getting a customer to be not only a customer, to be a raving fan. So all your staff would pick up especially the cleaners and the security, would pick up any rubbish that anybody threw out of the car within seconds. So people didn't have to go, look at the mess of this, because they shouldn't be thinking of that. They should be thinking of the excitement about coming and buying a pram. Although they didn't want to buy a pram, they needed to, but they wanted to put it off until the day that they had to. But when they walked into the shop, the doors opened automatically. This was on the last couple of shops we had. No, the last 3 shops we had. The doors opened automatically. We invested in that type of thing, so they didn't have to hold the pram with one hand and then open the door. Things like that. It's like, or a pregnant lady didn't have to have hold of her kids and then let them go. The doors opened automatically. And then what did you see for the first thing? You saw toilets, because every pregnant woman wants to go to the toilet, and if they've travelled 10, 15 minutes or an hour or 2 or 3 hours like they used to, first thing is toilet. And the second thing is not to be hounded by a salesperson who says, good morning, can I help you? No, that's the wrong thing to say. It's good morning, how are you? Would you like a cup of tea? And it's like that, you're greeted and they're given a cup of tea or coffee, and the kids have some juice and biscuits and stuff like that. It's all free. And then they're at ease. And then if you want some help, just give us a shout, and and of course the staff would have their eyes and ears open. And if somebody tried to fold a pram, I'll give you a hand, I'll show you how it does. And then they're in. And then they spend the next 2 hours with them, and they have what they want. Because if we're exactly the same as, if we're selling the same product, as John Lewis and Mothercare and all the independents, if we've all got the same product, because it's a very small industry, and you'd been to 6 shops, where would you buy your product from? If all being equal, you'd buy it from the place that gives you a cup of tea and a biscuit and gives you some milk and gives you toilets, and which are cleaner than theirs at home, and you know, this is the type of thing. So why wouldn't they buy from us? Because we've got friendly staff, we've got knowledgeable staff. It takes 2 years to become a pramologist, 2 years of hard training, and we used to get through loads and loads of stuff because we were serious about being the best and having those staff. And I used to say to staff when they started, welcome to kiddie care, this is on the first day, when you leave, and they go, I've only been here 10 minutes, what do you mean when I leave? When you leave, take more knowledge with you about this industry than you've come with today, and then I'll have done my job. And if you don't take any more knowledge with you about this industry and you leave, then I've failed. And all of a sudden they go, wow, I've never been spoken to like that. I've never been to a job where they're so enthusiastic about my knowledge. Not, oh, we're not telling you because you might leave and start up against us. None of that. No, because it was the reverse. So reverse psychology is a massive piece, you know, in that armoury of business. Besides all the practical stuff, where people don't open their eyes and they don't see and they don't feel and they don't put themselves in the customer's shoes, and that people go, how the hell did you get 70 million in cash for that business, you know, with one shop, and how did you sell 4 businesses along the way from 1980 to 2011? Well, it was having systems, and you build systems, and build the way you train people. And so people are looking for secrets, and they're like some of the secrets of 1,000 secrets, and they go, oh well, that's just basic, isn't it? And go, yes and no.
People forget the basics. People forget the basics.
They do.
They go to the seminar and they read the book and they listen to the podcast, and they're going through all this shiny stuff, and they forget the basics.
Yeah.
I love everything you said there, because although in your situation you're talking about retail, a lot of what I do is online. It's people that don't have shop fronts, but it's exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
It's go and look online. What is it that people are seeing? Go and clean it up. Go and type. Make sure the message is there. We're open for business. This is what we do. This is what we sell.
Well,
and I love that you've looked at experience, not just looking at the customer, but looking at your team as well. That having that culture of delivering the best possible experience is everything. Because I feel the same thing. When people leave my business, I kind of look at them as individuals. Are they better? Like, have they grown? Have they developed from where they were when they first started? And it might just be their confidence. Yeah. It might just be a bit of self-belief that they have now that they didn't when they started. And if I can't identify something, I do feel like I need to do better.
Yeah, I used to spend like 20 minutes a day with every manager. So 20 minutes in the buying department, 20 minutes in the accounts, 20 minutes in the pick and pack, 20 minutes in goods in, and that was it. You know, 20 minutes in the restaurant, and I would go round with the manager. The manager would bring the deputy manager and one of the staff at least. So when I opened my mouth, I wouldn't talk to less than 3 people, 6 really. I wanted to talk to 6 people. Because I wanted to get my message across, and the enthusiasm and the training and everything about that department. I wanted 6 people to listen and give their opinion, and I wanted to motivate them. So that was every single day that I would go out and round and round and round. And we had a general manager, we did as well. So he used to come with me, or the security manager used to come with me, and it was like these people learned every single day. It was enforced. It was like imprinted in them, you know, to how we work, how things should be. And then people, when you say about hiring, we hired everyday people who grew with us, who had something. Everybody is individual, everybody's got something special, everybody can be something, they can do something better than anybody else can do. So we took that little nugget of information, what they'd got, their enthusiasm on whatever it may be. Take Barry, for instance, our photographer, our video photographer, and our person who transfers files and and shuts everything down. And well, he came because we wanted somebody to fold up cardboard, because we was getting so much cardboard every single day. Lorry after lorry after lorry would be coming along, and I hadn't got time to fold the cardboard. All I got time to do is check it off and feed it into the warehouse or feed it into the shop. And then Barry came along, and after 3 weeks, we was in the office. We used to go in the office about 4 o'clock to see what was going on, and Barry used to come and pick the waste paper baskets up from the girls who was on their computers. And one day this girl's computer, and she said, "Oh no, my computer's gone wrong again." And Barry looked over his shoulder and said, "Here, this is it." And he, within seconds, he'd brought it back to life. And we go, "How did you know?" Because you're talking about 1998. You know, a lot of people still didn't have computers, and if they did, they didn't know what to do with them. And we said, "How did you do that?" And he goes, "Oh, I just know it's my hobby." And he go, "Put the baskets down, Barry. You're now our IT manager." And that's how it worked. And we grew people. You know, when we had our internet, we started.
And just to be clear,
Yeah.
so that was 1998.
Yeah.
So he was emptying bins in 1998. This incident happens. You promote him on the spot.
Yeah.
We're now in 2024.
Yeah.
And he's still with you.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's full time. Yeah. And he just loads and loads of stuff. He sorts all the cameras out for us on different estates, and you know, it's like you need these people who are knowledgeable. Yeah. So every day he gets more knowledgeable. This is it. And like our security guy, he worked in the warehouse, and he caught a thief one day and his name was Barry as well, Barry Herbert. He's retired now. And he said, "How did you do that, Barry?" He says, "Oh, I was on Tottenham Court Road. I used to catch thieves every day." I go, "You're now our security manager," you know, and then he needed 2 people to help him as we grew. And he had 59 cameras, and he could burn the CD. So from the person coming in to the person to get the car registration number, to the person thieving, to the person going out. But you know, we didn't have to catch them. We just caught them on camera, and then we could give it to the police and prosecute them. So it was that type of thing that used to go on, and to build the business. We had to have some people that was a bit more technical in the latter few years, you know, with having the internet, growing the internet from nothing. We was like one of the first people to have a shop online, when it used to take 2 weeks to get anything delivered, because there wasn't the carriers about in those days. So we joined forces with one of the carriers, and they then eventually designed their lorries to our business. So they had double-decker lorries, and we had, I think, 17 40-foot lorries going out every day full of product. And people in 2007, think the whole of the industry woke up one day and go, what's happened? And we were 7 years in front of them because there wasn't online. So
Crazy. So when was it that Kiddie Care sold?
the
It
last
was Morris.
the last
Yeah.
one we sold to Morrison's in February the 14th, 2011. We put it up for sale I think maybe July or August. We decided to sell. This was after the worst recession in history. This was. So there's massive upheaval and changes over that time. But there was a lot of changes anyway. We were used to changes because we had about 7 shops anyway. So we built, bigger and bigger and bigger. And this was the biggest baby nursery shop in the world, I believe. And that was by accident. Everything was, it's like, well, I had some plans. I bought 6 acres of land and I was building 2 warehouses. It was in the planning stage, building 2 warehouses for other companies. And look, here's Barry. Come round here, Barry. Around there, which way? Yeah. So here's Barry. Here's the cardboard man, the technical man. Where are you, Barry? Oh, there he is.
Don't give us time.
There.
Don't give us
So
time.
everybody probably recognises Barry from different videos that we've done and different talks we've done. Thanks, Barry. Yeah, that's great. So I don't know where we was. What was we saying?
Because how much did it sell for? Because I know it was all over the paper.
70 million in cash.
70 million. Okay,
Yeah.
so on that day, you've contracts are signed, the money's hit the bank. What were you doing at that point? What was going through your head?
We had the day off. After 30 odd years. No, we didn't want to go in. We didn't want to go in because it's payday for a lot of people, an extra payday for a lot of people, and so we didn't want to go in. But I wasn't not working, and nor was Marilyn. So I was with some lads that worked for us on the property maintenance business, and I was down some sewers. And this I think you probably heard this in one of my talks. Yeah, and this guy came out. I think we had 13 warehouses in this area, and the guy come out, looked over the barriers, and said, "What are you doing?" And I looked up, covered in muck, and it was like, "We're just doing the maintenance on these sewers, mate. We're cleaning them out." And he goes, "Is that you, Neville?" I go, "Yeah, how are you doing?" And he said, this was 8 o'clock in the morning. He just heard the 8 o'clock news on the television or radio, whatever it was. And he said, "What? I've just heard the news." He said that you've sold your shop for 70 million. Well, he said 70 effing million. He said, "What the F are you doing down there?" And that was the only way I could cope, really, because it was like you was losing that day. It was like losing all your friends, and it was like they've got to carry on, but we wasn't in the party. We was gone, really, and then all the reps, because we knew everybody in the industry. We became friends with the reps. We used to go on holiday with a lot of them, and it was like everything. You knew that it wouldn't be the same because they'd all got to carry on, and we was out of the job we loved. So that took some getting used to, but we soon got other businesses because we.
I was going to say, you didn't, 70 million in the bank. It's like at that point you don't need to work. It's.
Oh well, we never needed to work really.
But And I think this is one thing that sort of entrepreneurial mindset is you just don't stop.
It's, I think right from the first, well, I don't know, few months, it wasn't light work. It was like we was building our life, you know, together and with the children, and it's just something that you've got to fill your time with something, so why not do the best you can do, and the opportunities are there for everybody to do whatever they want to do, and people choose lots of different things, and we had 125 staff who chose to do what they were doing because they obviously didn't want to, I don't know whether it's I won't say take responsibility because they was all responsible, but that's I think why they stayed, because when they knew their job they became responsible for their job and making decisions that they could make themselves in our business. So different things for different people. I don't think, I'm sure I had some with ADHD, and I definitely had some with dyslexia, which they was all put into different jobs that they could cope with. But not everybody wants to be like us. You know, they want stability, and of course they've got families, and everybody's got a different take on what they want to do in life. But the opportunities are there in whatever you want to do. So if you're going to work for somebody and be a till operator, why not be the best till operator in the world? Why not? You know, why not be the best cleaner? I used to praise our toilet cleaner. Her name was Colleen. Yeah, so it's like I used to praise her every single day, and it was like, and Barry, who's here today, you know, it was like it was part of the growth what we was doing, and used to praise him every day because I couldn't do what he could do, you know, and I suppose I'd got things like in my mind that other people couldn't do, because I could see a vision, I could see what we wanted, I could see how we could serve the customer better. How can we get the prices cheaper? How can we, and all the reps that came to us, we had about 150 reps. My aim, secretly, and I never told any of them, was to make that rep in that company, our rep in their company, to make them the top rep. So usually you'd have about 12 to 15 reps in a big company, and they all used to have areas, and I wanted our rep to have the top area, the top salesperson, to sell more than any of the other reps put together. So, you know, it's again, it's reverse psychology. It is. And so the systems that we had for the reps, booking in the reps, and a rep would be booked in, not in the early days because they just used to turn up anyway, you know, unannounced, but then in the last few years they had to make their appointments with the buyer, and they would come into the reception area in the shop, and they'd say, you know, it's John so-and-so from whatever company. Well, they all knew, all the girls who were there on reception, they knew who they were, and they would be given a badge, you know, for being in kiddie care, so that people knew there was a rep and not a salesperson, and then they used to be given a voucher for a meal in the restaurant, you know, either a breakfast or a dinner, you know, and that was free. And they used to be given 2 sheets of paper, one to go to the service department to make sure that our service was running right for their company, and that their company was running right for our service, and they couldn't go any further until our manager had signed their bit of paper to say he was completely satisfied with their service. And if they wasn't, the rep would have to be on that phone and get the thing sorted out, get the spare part sorted out, or whatever was a problem. And then they used to have another ticket to go to the accounts, because unless our accounts had paid up, unless their credits had come in, the buyer wouldn't see them. So again, that was a motivation for him to get onto his department and say, we need those credits, and I need them sending across now, else we're not going to get another order. And then, and only after then, he or she could go and see the buyer. And that was the system. And we made all of these systems because we hadn't got time for anything else, but a system.
Again, it's that experience thing again, isn't it? It's like, what's everything we need? What's everything they need? Let's build a system that covers it all.
And we built a website. We built a website to replicate for the customer the experience online was the same, as near as possible as the experience coming into the shop. So we wouldn't just put a cot for sale. It'd be a cot, with several different cots as a similar, with 3 prices, and then we would put the mattresses, and they'd have 3, 4, 5 different mattresses, and then we'd tell them what the difference was, and then they'd have the sheets and the blankets, and this is the recommended how many sheets you have, and how many blankets, and how many of this and that, and then we'll have toys that go over the cot, and there was always a reason. Why would I need more than 1 pair of sheets? Because the baby will be sick, sometimes 2 or 3 times a night, so you'll need 3 lots of sheets. You'll need, and how do you get the baby to sleep? Well, take it in the car and go up and down. No, you have one of these whirly things that goes on playing music and all that kind of stuff, and it's like, everything was, so the customer said, if I buy a pram, I'll need this, and this, and this. Not get the pram home and go, oh, there's no mattress in it. Oh, there's no sun umbrella and the baby's just got burnt. You've got to think of all these things, because customers buying a pram for the first time, they don't know anything. And of course it got really easy because for the customer, when the internet came along after a few years, could learn in half an hour more about a product, whether it was a camera or a computer or a pram. They could learn more about the product that they're going to look at than the salesperson. And that was a complete no-no. We should know more than the customer. And so therefore the training was all updated every single day. If there was new products, then every department would have a meeting at 8:45, between 8:45 and 9 o'clock. They'd have a meeting so they was ready for the customer, and any new products or anything that was problem with the service department, they would all know. So all of this was documented, and for the health and safety and everything. So it's a complete training package. And people go, how the hell did you get £70 million for like one shop, right? Systems, and what's the secrets? 1,000 secrets, because they're all basic stuff that we all know, but most people can't be asked to do.
So Neville, I'm conscious of time because I know that every minute of your day is taken up. I have two questions to ask you that I'd like to finish with. So first of all, your book, okay, is called The Answer Is Yes. Now, what is the question?
Yeah. Can you go and get one of the books, Barry, and then I can show it just behind where I sit in the office. I've got a home office, and I've got an office in town, but I prefer the home office.
Excellent.
Yeah, so Barry will go and get a book. Anyway, yeah, the answer is yes. Now, what is the question?
Yeah, so just in a few words, just explain that concept, explain what that means.
All right, well,
really
the title come from 3 weeks after we started in business. There's the book. The answer is yes. Now, what is the question? And on the back, It says, in 1974, I told the man in the dole office that had verbally gripped my balls and my life that I would look after my family myself. And then it says, in red, it says, there was no way on this earth that I would go cap in hand to him or anyone like him ever again. I would never go begging ever again. You know, and two powerful things. All right, so third week of going up ladders, this lady came out of the came out into the garden and looked up and said, Neville, while you're here, will you? And I said, yes, I will. She said, I've not asked a question yet. And I said, I will do anything that you want me to do, unless it's illegal or immoral in my mother's eyes. So that's where the book title come from. What else did you want to know about that? Anything else?
I guess that's been your approach in terms of building the businesses that you've had. Because this book is essentially, I mean, I know it's a few years since you published it, and you've done a whole load more stuff since.
Yeah.
But it does, like, as you read it and talking to you and hearing you speak, it just feels like everything that's come at you, you've just said yes to. And figured it out.
We could say no, and you could go into a fit of depression, which, you know, is very easy to do that, but you got to keep fighting. And it's like climbing up a mountain. Everybody's climbing up a mountain in business, and the mountain is full of red tape, rules and red tape, and you've got to have a hard hat on because they're out to get you. You know, the people who take your taxes, they're very keen on taking your taxes but not helping you, and they just keep on piling and piling this mountain of rules and regulations and red tape that you could scrap half of it and make life a lot easier, a lot better. And whether it's just going out, just doing an ordinary, you know, day's work, or buying property, or whatever you're doing, you're running into this a lot of silly regulations, unfortunately, and thousands and thousands got to be scrapped. There is, and let people get on and make this country a better place. Yeah, so that's that book. Yeah, and was there another question?
There is, but one final question. So you've got.
Yeah, come on, I've got to go.
I know you've got a daughter, but you've got a couple of kids, right?
Yeah, 2 daughters and 2 son-in-laws and 6 grandchildren and 2 great-grandchildren.
Amazing. So, what do you think is the biggest lesson that your kids have learned from you and Marilyn?
Well, when they talk to me, it's Pop, the best Pop in the world, or Nanny, the best nanny in the world, right? So we've brainwashed them. No, well, from the age of when they can get up and walk about, they have done jobs, and they're with enthusiasm, and they've earned money, they've earned pennies, pocket money, and this is what they do. And if you have got a child and you want that child to be motivated, then just don't give them money. Don't let them have some money for work, whatever the task is. And you start with basic tasks, you know, very, very basic tasks. Some people say they're menial, and then you pay them for the jobs that they've done, and then they can spend it on whatever they like, and that teaches them, because they want something and they have to save for it, and then do they really want to spend it, you know, on that product or things? Then they can make their own decisions, and this gets better and better and better the older they get. And I'm talking about when 10, 11, 12, 13, and they get really, really into working and investing in themselves and in things that they want in life. And you can have anything anything that you want in life, as long as you help enough other people get what they want. Well, I want the trash putting out. You know, that's not a difficult job, and then they get paid for it, and then they come in and they automatically do it, and it's like anything. And don't get onto a child if they do a job wrong, because they don't want to clean the windows, but they're too small, so they can only clean the bottom half of those windows, right? But pay them half, because they've done the bottom half, and you know you've got to have the window cleaner come round, or you've got to clean them yourself. But that don't stifle their enthusiasm. If they can do something, let them do more. And schools are not teaching it. They're not. So
They're not.
all of our kids, they'll all be, they're all enthusiastic. Yeah, and they've all got their own. Our 2 children got their own businesses, and that's, you know, it's great, and they're contributing to society. Yeah.
Love that. Neville, I knew I'd love this conversation. It's, you know, we've had a couple of conversations in the past, and it's like it's always brilliant. And I get like a couple of minutes with you before you go on stage, or just after you've been just after you've come off. So it's great to spend this time with you. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
Where's the best place for people to follow you? Like, just keep following you, watching what
just
you find yourself in next?
Neville, it's just Neville Wright, NevilleWright.com. That's the website, isn't it? Yeah, there's a website, there is, and it gives you loads and loads of stuff for free, you know. So we keep adding to it, some crazy ideas, some businesses that we've got, and different things, and philosophy and whatever. The normal things, like Facebook, really.
Yeah, cool.
I've got other stuff, but I haven't got time to go on it. This is the trouble. I'm way behind.
I love watching your videos on Facebook, especially when it's you and Marilyn, because you know, the way things are in the world today. You know, my marriage didn't last. There's a lot of marriages out there that don't last, and especially where business is involved. And for how long you guys have been together, the businesses that you've grown together, and you continue to work together. When we see those videos of the 2 of you, and you can just see, certainly from the outside, it just looks so solid, and it's such a pleasure to see. And
I'll have to put some more on then.
Absolutely.
I'll have to try harder.
Neville, again, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure.
You're welcome. Thank you.